What's up, everybody? Today we're going to go over what is on the ground and available, and then after this I may continue in this video or do some other videos on this Nitro glove box business, how to get into it, everything about it from the inside out. So first off, what we have on the ground right now is, I'm going to go ahead and give this to the people that do know, and then we'll go over what it means and how to understand the language and what's going on and how to get in the business and how to make the money. So right now what we do have is 10 billion boxes of Cardinal gloves in Los Angeles, $7.85 per 100 units. It's $15.70 per box. This one's broken up into thirds because it's 3M's 46 cents. So that's a buyer seller, and if you have a broker, that ends up being that everybody gets about a third of that, 15 cents each. So the standard SOP, there it is, you got it. Also, I have a more legitimate Cardinal lot of 8.5 billion boxes at $11.50 per 100 and $23 per box. Better operating procedure, easier, straight, attorney to attorney, inspect and close, where the other one has escrow. Now, what else we got going on? I got COD package, basically right here. This program is with lifeguard, 9 days, $11.25 a box. Full COD stuff shows up at whatever airport you want, like LAX. You can inspect and deliver it, and no money goes in escrow. That is actually a great program. Now, if you want a production, what we have in production is I could get stuff at $4.25 a box, and only thing is required, if you want to verify the proof, you can do SGS, which is $2,500 right off the bat. And the setup for the production at the factory, you're only having to pay, like on $1 million tester order, is $5,500. Once you get that, the proof with your SGS, then you're going to be required to pay for the full amount, and we can sell it for, you want to sell for $8, $9, and we're splitting $4.50 to $9. So that's the production we have, and that's straight from a V glove. And it's in Vietnam and only takes like 6 days to get over here. So that's what we have on the ground right now. Okay, so that's for those of you who want to know. I'll have more lots coming in, more real ones, and I'll tell you about those. You can contact me on WhatsApp. If you don't have WhatsApp, you want to get WhatsApp, because WhatsApp you could put on your computer like this, and everybody in this Nitro glove 3M 1860 PPE market is in WhatsApp, because it's just like email, and you can drop your stuff in there, create groups, and do all these things. WhatsApp's the way to go. Not just on your phone, and it's not annoying text. That's why WhatsApp's so hot. Plus, you can talk to everybody in the world for free, because people in the other world don't have money to pay for a real phone or something. So WhatsApp's what you want to get. So let's talk about the Nitro glove box. Nitro boxes of glove industry. In case you want to get in it, make some money, or you're in it and you want to get better at it and make more money and learn things that you don't know. So I always like this. Maybe this will give us a good start here.
Before we get started, I have one question. Has anyone here passed the Series 7 exam?
I have a Series 7 license.
Good for you. You can get out too.
What? Why?
We don't hire brokers here. We train new ones. That's it, Skippy. Pack your shit. Let's go.
Pack your shit. Get the F out. Just kidding. If you're already in the business, that's great. You're going to be smart enough to know what's going on, and maybe I'll give you some extra tips that'll help you out. But people that have always been in the business, like sometimes running people, they've been in 8 years, and they think, oh, everybody's joining the hype and everything, but those guys didn't even make it big back then, so they can't complain, because the new guys are making the money now. So here we are. Let's go over some terms so we know what's going on. Your standard box glove transaction is required that you come up with a client that wants to buy it. Could be anybody. All billionaires are doing it. This whole industry or fake pandemic is basically been set up long before this even came about, and it was planned. So the government is monetizing all the nitro gloves and the 3M 1860s. They're propping up the economy with it, meaning they're buying all the supply, which means that since there is no supply, it's all demand, and they're doing this on purpose. So all the super billionaires and regular billionaires that are not in Fortune 500 and they're not listed and have their money out of the country and they're under the radar, like a lot of them are, the really rich people, they're buying and selling these boxes of glove, and they have to come up with a purchase order, proof of funds, and all this stuff, and they get into the system, the New World Order system. Like all you bozos wearing a mask when you don't need to wear a mask. The government is taking a census of who wears masks. Basically, going to be the same people who are going to take the microchip. There's a lot to this. It's very deep. Same with your 6 feet apart. Is, you're accepting 666, all these things, just like the world is round, which is not. You're getting pre-programmed and set up for the big picture. Anyways, it's just part of the puzzle. So, your standard purchase order, you have to have a purchase order and proof of funds. A purchase order, if you've never seen a purchase order, is
here's what I found about that.
Basically your standard purchase order. It just says the name of the company, what you're buying, and things like that. A purchase order is going to say Nitro gloves. You're going to buy Nitro gloves at whatever dollars, how many millions of boxes, and go from there. So that's your purchase order. You're going to get a purchase order with the proof of funds, shows the guy's proof of funds, or not only is it proof of funds, it shows that they has a capacity to buy. You're really going to want them. They're going to want you to get an LOA, which is a letter of attestation stating that you have X amount of dollars to buy the gloves with. The letter of attestation is basically, well, it's a letter of attestation written by an attorney.
Here is what I found.
An attorney is going to say you have XYZ dollar amount or whatever ability to buy X amount of gloves. So on the letter of attestation, it's going to say you have like 5 billion, 20 billion, 50 billion or whatever, and then the attorney's name is going to be on the letter of attestation, and his license is going to go on the line stating that you have X amount of dollars for this. So that, and then, or depends on which glove purchase you're talking about, they're going to want bank comfort letter.
I've got this for you on bank comfort letter.
Right. A bank comfort letter is basically an MT 799 for those that want to act like they're smart. It just means that it is a letter showing that you have X amount of dollars in the bank, example, that another bank can call your bank and verify that you have X amount of dollars in bank on the phone. That's what the term attorney to attorney does, because you want to, if you're going to have attorney to attorney conference, you're going to hand over your bank conference letter, your letter of attestation showing you have X amount of dollars, and that attorney is going to call it and verify it, and that's how you're going to get the stuff. So when you're selling these gloves, you want to get the purchase order and their proof of funds. Depending on the protocol, they may want just proof of funds, either a video of the guy's login and screenshot of his bank account, or a BCL, which is bank comfort letter, which you can verify it, or a letter of attestation, a letter from his attorney saying that he has that. Once you have that, then you're going to find out what the protocol is if you're going to buy, what type of gloves you want to get. So if you're buying whatever, you want to look for inspect and pay, because that means the seller has it, and when you inspect and pay, you just go there and you pay the seller, and you're going to have him collect the money, and he's going to pay you with his paymaster through his attorney. So, in order, how do you find what gloves are real? The gloves that are real is basically, you notice by the protocol, because you want to find things that are inspect and pay, and you want to see if they have like also if they have like SGS report, which is basically the policing of transportation of goods, policing of warehouse and things like that, warehousing and shipping. The SGS community is like the police. You have countries that rely on them, cartels. You got all the people with the super big money rely on SGS, Standard Global Service. Why is that? Because your standard SGS is basically a police report, and it's a piece of paper. You might look at it and they see, oh, it's a police report. What is it's just a fake piece of paper. No, it's not, because when you have a SGS report, you have it, it's going to test everything, it's going to count everything, they're going to examine everything, they're going to go through the whole batch, every crate, every box, every case, and they're going to be your eyes on the ground, and you're the one that hires them, and they do it. And people are paranoid and they think, oh, it's not a big deal. No, it's a big deal, because SGS will turn in whatever fraudulent actor or character and prosecute them to the fullest. They do not play around. They are legitimate. So if you have an SGS report, even if it's 6 months old, you can call SGS anywhere in the world, any department, and say, I have this SGS number, can you look it up? And it's going to say the lot number, the individual box numbers, everything on the report for every single box of gloves, and the inspection and the factory. So it is your eyes and ears as if you were on the ground. It's actually better than if you went there yourself, because they know what they're looking for and you don't. They're going to tell you if it's 4mm thick glove, if it's fake gloves. A lot of people say we don't want to buy V gloves because it's fake gloves. Well, I hate to tell you, if it has an SGS report on it and you're buying it from production, meaning it's made in Malaysia or Thailand or wherever, that Korea, Vietnam, that SGS has already gone through it and they validated it and tested it. The only time you're getting fake V gloves is when you're buying on the ground in the USA being stupid and there is no SGS report. So that's pretty much what you're going to want to get from the buyer, SGS. Sometimes if it's a hot commodity, depending on the glove you're trying to buy, like Cardinal gloves, because Cardinal 3M gloves, there's 300 per unit in a box, so you get more for your money. They're so new that you're probably not going to be so stringent on them, because they're going to sell within 15 minutes. And same with cranberry gloves, because they got well, they're 300 per unit, and Cardinal's 200 unit per box. Those are the hottest selling gloves, and there's really no fake ones out there because they're so new. So when you get your protocol and what you want to do to verify things, you're not going to be all hardcore like, oh, I need this and this before I send over a purchase order. The trick to doing this is speed and timing and getting the purchase order out there for Cardinals and cranberries, because they're super hot. It's like buying a Ferrari. It's not like buying Superior or V-Glove or whatever, because yeah, V-Glove has some knockoffs on the ground in the USA and there's some fake ones, but you want to move fast on the hot items like that, so you're not going to be so critical. But on other things that are like normal, the mix of V-Glove, Top Glove, Superior, whatever the gloves are, you're going to be more worried about sourcing it and determining if it's real. You can look at a protocol or a standard operating procedure and look at it and see whether that is real in itself. What is standard operating procedure? Like example, like this article, well, this, what I'm saying is this set of protocol SOP is purchase order, BCL, or letter of attestation, then goes straight to attorney. They're going to verify that, the proof of funds, and then you're going to release the address to the warehouses, and you're going to get SGS, bill of lading, Airway Bill, and all these things, and then you inspect it and buy it. Also, you're going to want to know what is an airway bill and what is a bill of lading, and the quantity of boxes. What's a box? I mean, billion. The box, that article, the ad I just showed you said, however many billion, 10 billion. Seems like not real because here's 5 billion boxes. Yeah, right up next to the Empire State Building. It's ridiculous. Okay, so yeah, it sounds fake, but reality is what they really probably have is like maybe 3 billion or 4 billion. You got to find out what's really on the ground, and then the rest is in production. So you're going to get your buyer, you're going to sell them that, and you're going to put the rest on contract. You're going to make a fortune. The payout on these sometimes takes a little while, but when it's all said and done, you're going to retire. I have several of these deals in the works. I have closed 3 or 4 deals, and some deals I didn't get paid on because I wasn't on my game and was new to the industry, didn't know how to prevent that crap. But anyways, now I know what's going on. Things are happening in the industry. So when you're looking at to find out what's a real lot, what's not, you want to talk about, like what I was going to say, you want to ask if they have the bill of lading, which is basically, I want to tell you, bill of lading.
I've got this for you on Bill of Lading.
Bill of lading is basically, it's showing where the product came from, how it got there, how many trucks it got there. It's proof that it was delivered there from the factory and they have it and all these things. This is an old term and it's a shipping term. So bill of lading is proof and it verifies how the document got there. I mean, if it got by truck, it got by boat, or however it came. So you're going to ask them if you want to find out if it's a real lot. You're going to say, hey, I want to know the bill of lading, SGS, or you want to ask them for the Airway Bill, which is the next piece of evidence. Airway Bill.
Here is something I found on the web.
An Airway Bill is just basically says the to and from destination route from the air and how many planes it took to get there. And every plane has its boxes from destination to arrival, departure, all that kind of stuff. The Airway Bill has a number and each plane that brought it over here. So like your standard, say like 747, depends on if it's a cargo or non-cargo, a 400 or 800 series. A 400 series 747 only going to hold like 107,000 boxes of gloves. A 747 800 series, you're probably going to get like 150,000, 160,000 boxes of gloves, depending on how it's packed. And you're talking about 777 cargo plane is going to carry.
Here is what I found about that.
You're talking 300 to 350,000 boxes of Nitro gloves. So a lot of people, like, if you're doing production and you're going to order, say, 5 million gloves, even something small, you're talking 350,000 planes, 350,000 boxes going to be dropped off at the airport from one plane. So like some of my production companies, they have like 10 logistic companies, so they'll fly up to like 7, well, they'll fly up to, so each 10 of them can fly up to like, say, 7 to 10 777s a day, so they could drop off like 25 million boxes a day, and then you could get up to like, in 10 days you're talking a decent amount of number of boxes. Okay, so production can take like a week, but when this boils down to validating whether you're buying real product or not, is like you see an ad like I showed you, it said 10 billion or whatever, so you'd say, be it if it's not like the Cardinals or the Cranberries or like your normal boxes on the ground, you'd want to say, well, do you have Airway Bill, do you have SGS, or do you have bill of lading? And then the last thing, or the simplest thing that everybody's going to ask for, is going to be called what is known as proof of life video. Now,
I pulled up some videos for you.
Now, on proof of life video, a couple things on that. A lot of these things can be faked out. And what you want to know is that on the proof of life videos, when you're looking at, see, these are factories. This is a factory. Proof of life video. You want to have, they're going to have the date and your name, of course, on it. But if the proof of life video has the boxes of gloves on the ground, it's straight from Malaysia or Vietnam, and it's still in the factory because they're boxed up, and it may have the name or whatever on the boxes. But a real proof of life video is going to have the boxes on crates, which means it's here in the US. When it's here in the US, you're talking, the problem is with proof of life videos, they may show only like 5,000 to 100,000 boxes. Whereas like if you're talking, you're buying, 500 million or a billion boxes, you're going to have like 5 warehouses. And if you're talking billions of boxes, you're going to have like 15 to 20 different warehouses. And no proof of life video goes more than like 15 minutes. So that's not the real way to determine it, but everybody wants proof of life video, and you get your name on something and it can give you a little bit of comfort. But the best way, SGS report could label and show all 20 some warehouses or all that. But your inspect and pay, you get to go there and look at it yourself. So that's how you're going to determine what's real lot and everything. So the next step on the protocol, once you have the real lot, is it's going to go attorney to attorney. Your attorney is going to discuss with their attorney the final contract. You're going to put the purchase order in, and then they're going to send you back an invoice. And the invoice, your basic invoice, is going to say you're buying
I found this for you.
X amount of gloves from XYZ company, and at this price and everything, and you sign off on it and you send it back in. And then when that comes back in, you get the attorney to attorney contract and you go over it on the phone. They're going to say, okay, I want to make sure that you have this amount of gloves, and we're going to go and inspect to pay at this price. And you both agree to it and sign it, and then boom, you go buy, look at the product, you like it, then you send the money and you buy it. So a couple things to control the situation, to control whether you're buying a fake lot or a real lot, is you're going to add a couple clauses. One is a performance clause, and that's going to state that if the seller is not going to perform and does not have the product, he gets a penalty of whatever you want to put in there, 20%, 100%. And also, there's another thing called a warning letter that it signed by the buyer and the seller. And the warning letter states that if the seller is selling fake gloves or no gloves, or if the buyer has no money, that whoever is in the wrong and lying is going to be prosecuted by law, and understands that and will sign off on it. So that's something you want to think about depending on what you're buying, and use that as your information. Once you get all this stuff together and you find the lot, you're going to get the NC&D, no compete, signed, and you're going to have a fee agreement signed. So that you have that under control. I'm going to show you what your basic fee agreement looks like. Fee agreement and the NC&D. Your basic NC&D has everybody sign off on it. You want to make sure it's not just the buyer's agent. You want to make sure the buyer himself, the agent, and all parties in the middle sign off on it. That's the only way the thing is going to be useful. Have everybody sign off on it. You can do DocuSign, but you want to make sure, if you don't have 5 people per deal, you probably don't have everybody signed off on it. And it's going to be done on your standard International Chamber of Commerce mutual non-circumvent non-disclosure paperwork. See, like this. And then on the bottom, you're going to have your room for all your people, the intermediaries, the sellers, etc., etc. Okay, so that's that. Now the fee agreement, your standard fee agreement, I'm going to show you what that looks like. Protocol and your basic master fee agreement has everybody's fees in here. That way everybody is on the same page, it gets signed off, and everybody gets paid out. Here's a basic one. It's not even a really great one. It's really a draft, but you want an actual fee agreement. I'll have to show you one here. Second, the master fee agreement will look like final fee agreement. Okay. This is like a $2 billion mask order for 18360s, your fee agreement, your payment breakdown, your terms, people's names, blah, 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 all these things. And in the very bottom, it's going to have your banking information. So that's your fee agreement. You get to get this done. So once you have that, you inspect and pay, and then you got the fee agreement, and then pretty much everything goes as planned. What you want to look for is, if you're looking for different types of lots, you'd find them like on WhatsApp or wherever you get into network, and people have what's live on the ground. They tell you what's going on, what's good. Some ways to purchase, inspect and pay is the best. When it's not inspect and pay, it's full escrow, and that means there's somebody in the middle. Full escrow means they don't truly own the gloves. You got to go through the middleman. They get the money in their escrow, and then they pay the actual seller. Those protocols normally don't work because they're 2 steps behind the real seller, and there's probably like 10 other people in front of you, and it causes a lot of room for error. So you want to find out how direct this seller is. Are they 1 person away, 2 person, or 10 person away? They may lie and say they're direct, but they want full escrow, means they're lying because they're not direct, because direct will be inspect and pay, and you could get the seller's attorney as the paymaster to pay you out on your fee. That's what you want to do. Now, so you don't want to, you want to probably avoid escrow. Now on gloves for production gloves, that is being produced from the factory. You want to get, I've got COD is collect on delivery. The pricing is like $11.50 my cost. You'd add it to it to make money, or you can do no money out of pocket and do it on SBLC, a standard bank letter of credit, which is like escrow, except the bank is giving you basically a giant credit card, and no funds are taken out of the SBLC until the product lands over here at the airport. You can inspect it, and when it's done that way, you can actually set it up on net 15-day terms, meaning that not only do you not have to pay anything out of your pocket when it lands, and you inspect it, you got 15 days later to pay it. But when you do that, it accesses the SBLC, your credit card, and the credit card's high interest rate. So when you're buying stuff overseas, the trick would be you get it over here for free with no money out of your pocket. You use SBLC and it lands, it shows up, then you pay for it with your own money, and you didn't get screwed because you didn't put your money up in the first place. And most factories going to want 50% down to get the product started, and 50% after it's produced while it's in the factory, and you get the SGS report, the bill of lading, the tracking number from DHL or whatever logistics service or planes that it's going to be flown out on, and then they're going to require you to pay the other half down. So you're paying full payment before it even shows up. And when it shows up after full payment, then it gets sent over here and dropped off at the airport, and you get to pick it up and go from there. Now, when it is sent from the factory to the U.S., that's called CIF Cost. I want to tell you what that is right now. CIF Cost Insured Freight. Cost insured freight is cost insurance and freight. Means that it'll come over here and that the factory is paying for it. And if it's good CIF, they will pay for customs. So your whole flight, your whole flight, your customs, and the fee for the airport landing is all covered. Customs and duties. That's called CIF. Now, that's in the pricing when you do a production thing. Now, contrary, if you're going to do production or you're going to buy something on the ground overseas, that is called FOB. FOB means free.
Here is what I found about that.
Free on board. Free on board. Free on board means they are loading it up onto your trucks or your plane for free, which means it's not free nothing. It means you're paying for it yourself 100%. And CIF, a lot of times when it's going to other countries or wherever you're sending your gloves to, it's landing at the airport and insurance stops, especially what you're doing orders in Mexico, your insurance stops at the border. So a lot of people inside of Mexico, they got to pick it up at the border. You got to pick it up at the border or the LAX, well, the airport, because nobody's going to insure stuff from the airport landing to your door. That's just not normal. Although in USA they will. So my production stuff will, but normal won't. So that's pretty much production. Or you can do production on full escrow. That means you put up all the money and no money is coming out of the escrow until it lands at the airport. At that point, you draw down for each plane load off of your escrow that you have in there. Now, is it seller's escrow or buyer's escrow? If it's seller's escrow and it's a good attorney and he's reputable in the United States, that's a great deal. But you just got to put the money in there. If it's your buyer's escrow, it's even better. That means you just put it in there and they verify that you have escrow, and boom, you're really good to go. My COD program, one of them has to have 10% in the buyer's escrow, which is your own escrow. Is like no big deal. But the other one's full COD, and this is all about pricing. So that is your explanations on production. So yeah, production, which is order from the factory, that most people don't do because they're too paranoid about sending $1 overseas because they're stupid. But the reality is, like, our production is $4.50 a box. Let that sink in. $4.50 a box. So if you're reselling it at $9, we're splitting $4.50 a box. The minimum order of, like, standard is like 20 million. So you're making over 20 to 40 million per setup. Now, if you bought the boxes yourself and you bring them over here and you're buying them at, $8 or whatever, and you go resell the stuff for $12, $13 a box, 500 million boxes, you turn into a billionaire every week to 2 weeks, depending on how you sell it. This money makes multimillionaires into billionaires. This makes billionaires into super billionaires. This glove box industry is better than the gold rush, better than the oil rush, better than the .com, better than everything. Everybody's in it. Warren Buffett's in it. Everybody else is in it. So production is where you get it. Some other productions depend on how many factories. My factory will do 30 million a week, which is not much, but I have some production factory lines that will do anywhere from 50 million boxes to 250 million boxes per week. And sometimes when the factories have excess gloves, like I have one factory in Vietnam right now, on the ground has 1 billion boxes right now on the ground, and that is pricing I got at $9.50 a box, and that has 25 cents in for the broker and myself already in it. And that one is right here. Takes a week to get your planes in. They're doing 777s. That's the ones doing like 20 million drop off, 25 million drop off a day. 10 logistic companies running anywhere from like, basically maybe 70 777s a day. Once that drops off, you're talking about 10 days, you get it all dropped off, and it's delivered. So there's actually 2 billion there right now, but this ad I had it a billion. This can be done with a letter of credit, or it can be a full escrow into the seller's account. And this guy is a big time baller in Los Angeles, and he buys these all on the ground. Or if you're super ultra paranoid, you fly clear over there, and I could have a rep go with you or somebody, and you could see it at the warehouse on the ground for yourself, and then we can ship it out. So you want to sell it that way, you could do it that way. Or you want to go FOB, free on board, as in you pay for your own shipping and air and all that stuff. I get it to you at, I believe the last I checked, it was like $7 a box, which is dirt cheap. So that is a good deal. And on this scenario, you get a purchase order and proof of funds. We'll let you, once you do that, you'll get SGS, letter of attestation, an attorney from the factory says it's there, and proof of life video and everything. And then you're going to put the money in the seller's escrow, and boom, that's it. That's how you buy it on the ground. On the ground in the United States, like I said, most of it's fake. That's the industry. It's fake because you've got like 5,000 buyers to one seller. So, and you have a bunch of brokers trying to do it, and they're stupid because they're probably 1, 2, 3, however many down the daisy chain, and the main seller never even told them it's sold. So buying on the ground in the United States, you have to be really careful and have a good connection and know how to see what's real and what's not real. And by doing that, you're going to know it by the standard operating procedure, and then the purchase order name. The purchase order name, when you make a purchase order, you have to put in a certain name. You're going to start recognizing what names of companies are bad and defunct and not deal with. Like DNA is one of them. They never close the deal. I think they're doing some identity theft or something, hard telling, and they have a bad track record history, like as in you don't want to buy from them. But they're all over the place. And certain other ones you're not going to want to mess with. But once you start doing it, you start getting in the business, you start understanding that, and you learn it. That is pretty much the industry from top to bottom, from the inside out. Once you get your first deal, you'll understand the paperwork is very simple. It's basic. This whole thing is beyond simple. It's easy. The type of gloves, I mean, you got SkyMed, Top Glove, Uniglove. There's just a whole bunch of different brands. Most of them are, all the ones I've seen are 4mm thickness or better. Some of them are 7mm, like supposedly the Cardinals and the Cranberries are better than normal. But for the most part, the only ones they say people don't want to buy V Glove because V Glove has some fake ones. Okay, some people made some fake ones and they're selling them on the ground in the U.S. That's because people aren't smart enough to get the SGS report and verify it. And then the other one that is harder to get, makes industry harder, is Top Glove, because Top Glove has, well, like a lot of them, but they got busted with it. Top Glove has issues with child labor laws, so they cannot be sent directly to the United States. So they have to go a roundabout way to get into the United States. So that costs them to be more expensive, and a lot of people don't want to get them. But Top Glove is actually a good glove, and the cost, everybody's getting these things so cheap, you gotta you got to wonder how they make them so cheap and make so much money. Well, yeah, it's child labor law. So this is your guy that owns it. You have a ton of super rich people behind all these things. Also, the guy that owns Top Glove, well, actually, the guy that owns V Gloves owns Superior and HTC. It's like 40% of the whole glove industry. It's basically the glove industry mafia, pretty much, and they're pretty cheap. Top Glove is another big one, but all this boils down to is supply and demand and the shortage of gloves. And there's always a shortage because you got DOD, FEMA, and all these other entities buying every glove, that extra glove on the ground, and they're going to keep doing that because it's propping up the economy. They're monetizing the thing. So that's what's going on. So if you want to get in the industry and make a lot of money, that's it. Everything. That's how you do it. You're going to collect from your buyer, purchase order, proof of funds, or BCL, bank comfort letter, and then letter of attestation. If they have it, and you're going to submit it, you're going to find your seller, which I'm a seller. I have sellers. I have buyers. How do you find buyers and how do you find sellers? Well, sellers, you're going to go to me, like my connection, everything, and then I'm going to get you connected with the real stuff, and then you probably learn to work on your own. I mean, I got buyers and sellers. Your buyers, how you can find the buyers? I mean, you can put ads up. You can put ads up in other countries because everybody's in on it. Put them in rich countries. I mean, you got Australia, you got Malaysia. Well, not Malaysia, but you got Australia, Saudi Arabia, Dubai. You got all those Midwestern states, Mideastern states. You've got all in the United States. You got everybody with money. So you get in LinkedIn, you put up a profile, you advertise that you do boxes of gloves, and you're going to just push it and make it work. But you have to make it work. I have a lot of people making it work and everybody making money. But there's two types of people. There's ones that try to make it work and then they just find fucking excuses and just bitch and complain and say, I did this and I did that, and oh, it's not working, and all they say is this is a bad day, that's a bad day, and they want to tell it to everybody. Well, everybody in the business doesn't want to fucking hear about how you fucking failed because you're a fucking failure, so keep your fucking failure shit to yourself. The reason why people succeed in the business is because the only time you're calling the next person is when you got a new order and you got new information and or how to make new and better money. If it's anything else about whatever went wrong or it's not working or your fucking shit isn't working, don't fucking call anybody and don't fucking share it with nobody because you're a fucking failure. You go in the bathroom, look in the mirror and bitch yourself, and then you say, why the fuck am I failing? And then you punch yourself in the face, and then you get the fuck out of there and you get your ass back on the phone and you start making it work again. And if it don't work and you can't make it work, you shut the fuck up and you go back to McDonald's and you go back to your fries and stay there fucking with your fries. But don't fucking get in our world and start bitching about it's a fucking failure and you put in all this fucking time when all of us been put in 24/7 for the last 6 fucking months making shit work while you're gonna sit there and cry your little fucking ass off. I hate motherfuckers like that. You think you can't make it because you put in this, you did that, you're trying, you can't. Well, fuck, you're right, you can't. So get the fuck out of our face and wait till we sit back and send you your little money so you can blow that and be a fucking loser for the rest of your life. No problem. Cool. I mean, that's just how it is. That's how success is. Now, granted, okay, somebody, maybe that's a little harsh, but in general, that's the reality of everything in life. Not everybody's a failure. Not everybody can make it. It's just for some people. And if you want to make it, this is how you're going to make it. I mean, it takes work. Everything takes work. You got to put in the effort. You got to do the time. And things pan out. Now, it's about also balancing effort. Right. So maybe you only do an hour a day, 2 hours a day. That's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. If you don't have anything else going on, well, whose fault is that? That's yours, because you spent too much time drinking or smoking or whatever you do, not working and not focusing on your other stuff. So when you focus on your stuff, you balance your risk level on your incomes, and you spread it out, and you start making things happen. That's what makes things work. So when you get in the network and you get in the system and you find out who's got the knowledge of what's going on, who's got the gloves on the ground right now, this day and this day, who's got the best production, and you get the clients, you mix them with you mix and match them and everything. Saturdays and Sundays in this business kind of slow, sort of, because you can't wire money. Other than that, it's pretty hot. It's a big business. If you got money, you want to get rich and buy commercial real estate, that's fantastic. I'll put that on priority number 3 or 4 right now, because it's not such a big deal. But if you got money and you want to make bank, you're going to buy, you maybe start out with like $1 million boxes of gloves. You turn around and double your money like the second time you sell it. Then you get up to 10 million boxes of gloves. Before you know it, I mean, you're already turning millions into millions, and within, on the productions, you're buying gloves, you could turn that million into $1 billion in easy, probably 60 days. You turn that billion into multiple billions in a matter of weeks. Easy. This is easier than selling drugs. And people say they can't sell. Well, if you can't sell this, man, you can't sell shit. You can't close a door, because it literally is like selling drugs. Everybody with money who knows anything is buying these gloves. So I just gave you the breakdown. It's kind of a terrible video, but I don't have time to go over and make it so picture perfect. But picture perfect is for like the English teachers and the Nazi word freaks and the poor people. If I want to make a picture perfect, I'll hire somebody to do that, and then all you skeptics and haters can cry because it's not perfect. Making money is not perfect. It's called being effective and fast. And if you have too perfect this stuff, you're definitely poor as shit, because you don't get shit done. Speed and efficiency and making things work, then streamline and doing all that stuff later, is what makes money. But the most perfectionist, most critical person is the poor person, because they sit around and bitch about shit because they got nothing else going on. But those that appreciate it, they don't care. They want to know how they get in, how to make money. So that's enough for the soapbox. But hopefully this video gave you a little general idea. Yeah, I know the video is a little weak. I agree. I could do better on that. But I'm just trying to get the information out there so you can learn as you go on a real purchase. And then you make the big money, because nobody wants to learn excessive crap and fill your head full of stuff and not make any money. Trust me, I did college for 6 years and 3 years of after graduate crap to become a DNA analyst. I have so much shit in my fucking brain, and then I did DNA analyst for $30,000 a year. Whoop-de-doo. I'm saying too much information make you fucking broke. So believe me, I'm done with that. I'm just to the point and get the money. And that's why I got out of that business like over 20 years ago. And I said, fuck being poor. And, well, okay, I got to quit cussing. I'm doing better, but it's taking some time. Anyhow, I hope this video helps you guys out. If you want to get into the business, you want to help where to advertise, how to get your clients, how to do it, get on WhatsApp, contact me on WhatsApp. My cell phone number is 312-218-8737. I say WhatsApp because I can put you in groups. I can put you in groups with people. I can put you all the stuff that's on the ground right now today. It changes every day. I could help you out with your buyers and sellers, and we make things happen. That's why you want WhatsApp, because it's like email, but you drop your documents in there. If you already know it, you probably know. I hated WhatsApp before this. Now I love it, because it eliminates conference calls, because you got to have conference calls all the time when you don't have WhatsApp, because you got to talk to 50 people and listen to this crap and kill yourself because everybody's babbling and you don't get anything done. Instead, you put them in a group. You can see everything going. I got like 5 other groups going. They're doing all the work for me. They're talking. I just pop in there and look at it, and I see what's going on, and boom, closes. And when you're doing the gloves, you're going to want to have other groups going, because you're going to do the gloves, and you're going to do the 3M 1860s N95 masks, which is super hot. There's a little more steps to it, but it's big money. And the smallest deal, you're talking like $50 to $100 million payout to your cut. So that'll be on my next video. So when you want to watch that and you want to get into that business, you're going to take this plus the gloves, and you're going to advertise both at the same time, and you're going to get your buyers, and eventually you get your sellers, and you get right in the middle of all the money. You want to start out with maybe an hour, a couple hours a day, then you start making money, then you want to put in more, and that's how you're going to make it. And then we'll switch you into like commercial real estate and all these other things and get you into the next level. But this is easy, free, no overhead. It's just effort and a little bit of sweat equity, which people do not want to do. But if you do it, you learn your business, you know what's up, it pays off. And people don't think billions and millions is real. But it is. It really is. So there you go. Thanks for watching and enduring this video, and I'll try not to cuss in the next video. Have a good day. Talk to you guys later. Now, to turn this off, shift